Hey, what's going on guys? It's FPL Yusuf and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today we are finally here. We are at game week 38, which is the last game week of the season. It's going to be a good one. This is the last opportunity to sort of jump rank, go for some differentials. If you're chasing, you're trying to chase your mini leagues, you're trying to chase overall rank, hopefully this video will help you guys. Just hopefully have a look at some more obscure players. We'll talk about who's got the best fixtures, why we should pick them, but also captaincy choices as well, because that is going to be a big thing for a lot of people in this last game week. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so welcome back guys. We're just going to go over a little bit of a recap of what happened in game week 37. As you guys can see on screen, currently on 86 points. Got a few players to play tonight in the Newcastle, Chelsea camp as well. I'm currently recording this at Thursday afternoon, so those games haven't gone ahead yet. So hopefully we can hit the 100 club again. Hopefully Alexander Isak is fit and playing as he's in my captaincy. But overall, not a bad week. Pedro Porro coming in big on the bench with a few points. Hopefully the likes of Gordon can follow up with that as well. But overall, it's been a decent week. Obviously, last night, City game went ahead. They got the job done against Tottenham 2-0. Haaland got a brace. I didn't captain him this week. I went for a little bit different. So hopefully we can match that in today's games. But as I said, overall, not a bad score. I think for most people, it's kind of a chip was played, whether that's a free hit or a bench boost. So I think the overall average will be quite high this week by the time tonight's finished. But yeah, overall, not too bad. And we're going to go straight into the video now to get onto our transfer targets for game week 38. Okay, so I'm going to structure this video a little bit differently to how I usually would my transfer target videos. I'll still give you guys a top three of my favourite players, but I'm just going to show you the transfers that I'm looking to make for my team first and foremost, because I can't win my mini leagues, unfortunately. Most of them I've dropped too far down, but I'm going to try and finish as high as I can. And there's a few of them that I can actually sort of finish in the top three, providing I have a good week in this last one. So yeah, on screen, as you can see, this is my initial plans at the moment, and it is to take a -8. It's either going to be a -4 or a -8. Now, when it comes to taking minuses, and I'll touch on this a little bit more in the final preview where I'll go over some sort of key questions about it. When it comes to taking minuses in the last game week, I think if you are chasing, you're gonna have to try something different. This is the last opportunity to try and gain rank. If you're someone who's just trying to maintain a lead, you want to try your absolute hardest not to take any minuses. Just play the safe captain, which is Haaland, and just like let your team do their thing. Whereas if you're chasing, you're gonna have to look elsewhere. You're gonna have to look elsewhere for differentials. You're gonna have to look elsewhere for captaincy choice as well. Now, I am thinking of going quite rogue this week with my pick. So first transfer that I think we'll probably be making is Kevin De Bruyne up to Mo Salah. Now, De Bruyne has actually got a little bit of an injury sign. I don't know how bad it is. The good thing about this coming week in game week 38 is that everybody kicks off at the same time. So we'll probably get team news early on for most players, or for at least for a lot of the teams anyway. So my transfers won't be made genuinely till the last hour before deadline. So I'm going to leave it as long as I can. But the first transfer I'm thinking of making is moving Kevin De Bruyne up to Mo Salah. I'm also looking at getting rid of Anthony Gordon for a Crystal Palace midfielder, either Eze or Elise. I'm still torn between both of them. At the moment, I think I'm more swerving towards Elise. Again, he's going to be in my differential section at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's a really close call between them two. And then another transfer that I'm looking to make is Alexander Isak to come out, and I'm looking for a differential forward. And right now, Chris Wood is top of that list for me. He's got a fixture away against Burnley. Burnley obviously have been relegated. Forest are pretty much safe. I think, you know, if Forest lose and Luton win, I think Luton's goal difference will just be too much to sort of claw back. So I think Forest should be safe. But hopefully Chris Wood, you know, against his former club, can go out on a high. So he's someone that I'm definitely looking at as well. So yeah, two players who are going to be in my differentials of the week at the end of the video. So we'll touch more on them in a little while. Okay, so defenders. Who are our top 5 defenders, midfielders, and strikers? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bunch all of these guys together, so it's all on one slide for you, so we can just do like one in-depth talk about all of them, because like I said, a lot of it's going to be differential based this week if you are chasing. So these players are for people who are just almost happy with their rank or trying to hold and maintain. These are kind of like generic picks in general, just who's got the best fixtures. So with defenders, I think surprisingly, I didn't expect to find myself saying this, but Gavardio has actually gone to my number 1 spot. Now, it was Ben White was the guy I was going to say, but after the week Gavardio's just had, I think he has to be number 1. City have got West Ham on the last game week of the season. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this fixture. I think if I had to give you my honest opinion, I think City are going to absolutely wallet them, and I think West Ham are going to hold 4 or 5, to be honest with you. So you should be good on a clean sheet. But Gavardio is just so attacking in this City side. I think it kind of goes without saying that he needs to be there. Like, the last few weeks, maybe month or so, he's been fantastic down that left-hand side. And there was a time in the season where it was touch and go with either him or Ake at that spot, but I think it's his to lose at this point. So Gvardiol is going to come in at number 1 for me. Number 2 is going to be the man who I was just talking about, and that is Ben White. Obviously, Arsenal got their last game of the season at home to Everton. Stranger things have happened in football. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I'm hoping that West Ham can kind of do us a favour, and I'm hoping that I get this Gvardiol thing all wrong, that West Ham will go and score. However, I'm not too confident about it. So we're gonna just see what happens. But Ben White for me has been Mr. Consistent for Arsenal all season long. What can I say about him? He gets up and down that right hand side, has a good goal threat, has a good assist threat. Arsenal obviously as a team have a good clean sheet percentage odds, so he's kind of guaranteed that. I don't say guaranteed, but there's a very high chance that he's going to get a clean sheet in their last game. So yeah, Ben White's going to sneak in there at number 2 for me. And the final defender is going to be the man who I was just speaking about in the previous section, and I'm going to throw Reece James in there at number 3. Now this one is a rogue pick, so if you know, testing the waters and like just doing something completely different, it's not your thing, I completely get it. Reece James only 2.7% owned at the moment. If you are looking for a completely differential defender, I think it has to be him. It has to be Reece James. Like I said, I don't know whether I expect him to start or not. So like I said, I'm going to wait right till the deadline. But if Reece James is starting, I think there's genuinely a viable option to bring him in. Chelsea are playing Bournemouth, I believe, on the last game week at Stamford Bridge. So they are home. But let's see. So that for me is my top 3. I'm going for Gvardiol first, followed by Ben White, and then just a random, complete out of the blue differential in Reece James in at number 3. My top 3 midfielders now, this is where things get interesting. I've actually gone for Mo Salah at number 1. Now, like I said in the previous section, he is someone that I'm looking to bring in this week. And I think Salah's been a sort of touch and go player all this season. And it's been unlike him over the past few seasons because he's been so consistent. I just think Liverpool, last game at home against Wolves, who are on the beach, they don't care. They're happy with their season. Klopp's leaving, so they're going to want to give him a send-off. I just think it just makes sense for Salah to want to go big. So for me, he's going to stay at that number 1 spot. He's very expensive, of course, and it might be quite difficult for a lot of people to get to him. But for me, I'm going to keep him there at number 1. Number 2, now this is one I was different between Eze and Elise, like I said. They haven't got the easiest fixture on paper. It is against Aston Villa, but it is at Selhurst Park. I am going to choose to go for Michael Elise, as I said, over Eze, solely because I think Elise has the higher percentage of holding, but Aston Villa looked really tired against Liverpool. I know they brought it back to 3-3, but when they went 3-1 down, they looked very tired, and they didn't look great. They didn't look how they've been all season. They look like the season's wrapping up for them, and they're just coming towards a close. They pretty much guaranteed themselves Champions League football as well, which for them just is great news anyway. So yeah, for me, I'm going to go for Elise in this one. Like I said, you could pick Eze, you could pick Elise, it could be either one of them, but I am going to go for Michael Elise in this. And the third and final pick I'm going to go for is Kai Havertz. Now, like I said, I feel like the last few weeks I've just been saying this about him, that he's Mr. Consistent, playing in that false 9 role, the number 9, 9.5, whatever you want to call it. Everything goes through him. He's so central. He's going to play 90 minutes. Even if he gets moved out of the striker spot, he's going to just drop back into a number 8. So I think you're pretty much good to go there. A little bit cheaper than Bukayo Saka if you don't have Saka. Obviously, Saka has the penalties, which is the upside. But I think Kai Havertz on the last game, I can see Arsenal going out with a bang. You know, Sean Dyche's boys are safe anyway, so Everton, there's no worry for them there. So yeah, I think it could be a big game for Arsenal, and yeah, I'm gonna put Kai Havertz in at number 3. Okay, now onto the forwards. Again, first place in this one, no surprise here, is Erling Haaland at home to West Ham on the final day of the season to win the title for City. He's going to play. He's going to play, and he's going to be hungry for goals. Whether or not they come, that's a different story. But for me, Erling Haaland, without saying too much about him, is going to go in that number 1 spot for obvious reasons. Number 2, number 3, this is where things get a little bit interesting, and again, a little bit different. Now, I have got, as you can see on screen, I've got Chris Wood in number 3, so we'll come on to him in a minute. But there is another striker in at number 2 that I'm contemplating actually bringing in this week. And it contradicts what I just said about Reece James, but it is Dominic Solanke. Now, I like Solanke a lot, and I think he's had a fantastic season for Bournemouth. They are going away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which could be a tough game for them. But I believe Solanke did score in the reverse fixture when they played them last time. So for me personally, he looks in such good form, and he's so integral to everything Bournemouth do. And I do think Bournemouth could go there and give them problems. Chelsea have improved much so over the last few weeks, but I do think that there's an opportunity there for Bournemouth to sort of get at Chelsea a little bit. So yeah, Dominic Solanke in at number 2 for me. And like I just said there, finally in the number 3 spot. This one is a bit different because I was umming and ahhing about a few players on this one. I was looking at Isak, obviously, because a lot of people are going to have him owned. Højlund from Man United, could they go out with a little bit of a bang? Welbeck, who we're going to come on to in a little bit for my differential. So there was a few players in there, but I have gone for Chris Wood in the end. Again, for me, someone who Forest are pretty much safe, but he's coming up against his old club, and I do wonder sometimes, is there like a point to prove there for these type of players? Chris Wood's had a great season in his own rights. He's been okay. Dropped off maybe a little bit the last few weeks, but I think Burnley is a fixture that he can get some joy against. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Chris Wood for me is going to sneak in at that number 3 spot. So that is a list of all my top 3 in each position, as I always do, but I've just grouped it up together in one section this time. Let's just jump straight into the next section, which is going to be our differentials of the week. Okay, so at the time of recording, like I said, the Chelsea's and the Newcastle games, they haven't all played their second round yet. So there is still a possibility that Cucurella, who was my first differential last week, could still return. If we're going off the players who have already been based, I've got 1 out of 3 so far. Mohamed Kudus did come up with an assist. Not the biggest return in the world. I did kind of expect a little bit more from him. But, you know, a return is a return at the end of the day. So that's 1 out of 3 so far. Could be 2 out of 3 tonight. But yeah, the differentials for this week. So let's just get straight into it. So number 1 I've gone with, and this one, again, I've spoken about him a lot this week, is Michael Olise. Now, bear in mind, these aren't in any order, by the way. These are just my 3 picks. So Michael Olise, 2.1% owned, very low ownership in the game. I still can't believe he's actually that low owned. Crystal Palace have been fantastic since the new manager come in. They're attacking better. He's looking better. And for me, I think, you know, like I said, Aston Villa looking a little bit tired recently. And I do think that there's a chance that that Crystal Palace could exploit that. So yeah, Michael Olise for me in at number 1. Chris Wood, the man we've just spoken about in the last section, for me in at number 2. I won't touch over him too much, but yeah, again, another striker with a very good fixture against a relegated Burnley, his old club as well. So the narrative's there to build for him to want to get results. So yeah, Chris Wood in at number 2. But yeah, for me, these are my top 3 differentials. Hopefully we can have a better week than this week gone so far, and get all 3 of them right, which would be a nice way to send out the season. So yeah, that is my top 3 differentials of the week.